Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another live with Prandata Prim on YouTube and Facebook. So, I'm actually thinking about calling my lives Sacred Sex Conversations, but I don't know yet. I've been trying to come up with a good name. So, we'll see what people say about that. I'm going to do a little poll and see how people think
Yeah.
about that. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited. We're going to be talking about how breath leads to pleasure. And I'm so excited to have Dr. Jasmine Stanton, the Orgasmic Healer, who is a Washington, D.C. native, currently based in the DMV
Yeah.
metropolitan area. That is my stomping ground. So
Yes.
I'm excited to have you. I'm originally from New York, but my last place of residence in the US is the DMV.
Mm.
So, Dr. Stanton earned a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from Florida A&M University, and I went to Florida State right next door. All right, let me stop interrupting your bio. She practiced 6 years before her retirement. Dr. Stanton's journey into tantric sex practices and ancient Taoist techniques began in 2012, where she began studying and exploring these practices, which soon resulted in her first tantric sexual experience. I'm going to want to hear about that before we go into how breath leads to pleasure. Definitely want to hear that.
Okay.
And she said her life changed forever. During her career as a pharmacist, many of her female patients suffered from vaginal dryness, recurrent vaginal infections, and many of her male patients suffered from erectile dysfunction, low libido, and premature ejaculation. Also, a host of her patients suffered from depression and anxiety. Breath work, sensual tantric massages, and sacred relationship practices can lead to physical and spiritual healing that pharmaceuticals can't provide. Through Dr. Stanton's studies and practices, she realized her true purpose and passion and continues to dedicate her life to assisting females and couples to their sexual journeys. This is amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And
Thank
thank you for being here. Hola, Fernando. Boa noite. Tudo bem? So, yeah. So, tell me all about how your first tantric experience. I want to hear about that.
So I was still in college. I picked up actually this book, so Urban Tantra, and
Oh,
I
I have it.
worked through the fire of breath exercise, where you're pretty much breathing into each chakra. And through that, I was able to not only orgasm but ejaculate without physically touching myself. So I was had my first like energy or breath orgasm, and I was just amazed. It definitely changed my perspective of sex forever. So I definitely appreciate this book, and if you don't have it, I definitely recommend you pick it up.
Yes, yes. I have Urban Tantra, and I definitely recommend that book as a starter for people who are interested in learning about Tantra. So, so interesting because one of my first tantric experiences was in India, actually. I happened
Woo!
to be traveling, yeah, through India, and I was at the beach in this beach town called Gokarna, and I met a guy there, and he actually introduced tantra to me. And so it was so interesting because we connected. Like, there was no sex. Everybody hears tantra and think tantric sex, but we literally sat in front of each other, looking into each other's eyes and breathing together. And it was just so intense that I actually, for the first time in my life, had orgasms without being touched, without any penetration or
Yes.
anything like that, and it was like, oh my God, what is this? So
Yes.
yeah. So, and I'm so excited. So right now I'm in Nova Friburgo, in a little town in outside of Rio, about 2-3 hours, doing a tantric retreat. And so this is some of the things that we're going to be teaching the participants here. There's 40 people, so it's amazing. And we're going to be teaching them breath work. We're going to be teaching, having them eye gaze and many different practices. And it's powerful. And so, you know, I know how powerful the breath is. And I wanted to have you come in and talk about it from your experience, what you've noticed, and just kind of really get into um, how the breath work is healing, how it leads to pleasure, how you can have orgasms. And I love your name, the Orgasmic
Yeah,
Healer,
thank you.
because we all need some orgasmic healing.
It's on a
So sexual healing too. But yeah, so and those who are watching, want to let you know, feel free to ask any questions that you want to ask, any comments that you want to make. Go ahead, feel free. All right.
So, as far as breath, I think it's one of the most important things, especially once we get to sex. But just on a daily basis, I think we don't pay attention to our breath enough, at least in the Western world. You're always on the go, but your breath really pretty much governs your mood. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
is our heartbeat or your breath will speed up. If you're calm, you are most likely taking deep breaths. So I think we can really shift our mood once we start to do breath work, but also once we're with our partners or even when we're self-pleasuring. I find it common for people to hold their breath the closer they get to orgasm. So we think if we hold our breath,
So
like,
true.
oh, we'll get to it quicker, but in tune, we're not circulating that sexual energy so that we can have a full body orgasm because we're not breathing as deeply as we need to. So I definitely
Mm-hmm.
teach my clients to breathe, and the students that did take my class, they were just so amazed how breathing and having your partner tell you to breathe actually during sex, that they were able to orgasm quicker. Or you have women who weren't able to orgasm before, and then they were able to actually have an orgasm, all because they were
Yes.
in tune and intentional with their breath. And I think that's
Yes. Yeah, it makes such a difference, It's so funny because same thing, like a lot of times, just like if you're working out, you're exercising, sometimes you don't realize you're holding your breath. And then
yes.
you have your personal trainer say, breathe. It's that same thing. When you're having sex, sometimes like you start to feel that pleasure and you tense up, you hold your breath, but then you also tense up your body. And
Mhm.
that's what makes it harder to have the orgasm. And
Yes.
so, yes, I agree. Like, great point that you said when you breathe, it helps you to relax, to
Yes.
be able to allow the orgasm to happen. And
Yes.
then also the breathing helps you to be present. Because a lot of my clients, they'll say, oh, I'm with my partner, I'm having sex, but they're thinking about something else. They're thinking about, oh, what I got to do tomorrow, or something, their car broke down, or whatever it is. They're thinking about something else, and that breath helps to bring you back to be present so that you can actually feel the experience, you can enjoy the experience,
Yes.
and thereby having orgasm, you
Yes,
know.
that's so true because when you're paying attention to your breath, you're present. So that's every sensation you can actually feel. So it feels greater than you thinking about tomorrow's shift or you having to cook dinner after you have sex. You're actually there. So every little touch, every little tingle, you'll actually feel it instead of it just going over your head.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And it's interesting. You have the book Urban Tantra. I'm not sure if I read this in that book, but because I've read tons of different
Yeah.
books, but I know there's some different techniques, like tantric techniques, where they have you do different types of breathing things, even making noises sometimes. And so sometimes people feel weird.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like when you work with clients, like in terms of telling them different things to do, breath work things during the lovemaking session.
So, for most of my students, I try to push to practice these things on your own. So, if you do the breath work on your own, once you get with your partner, you won't feel as silly. But also,
True.
feel uncomfortable, use that as an opportunity to be vulnerable with your partner. I think it's okay to say,
Mhm.
I feel uncomfortable, or this is new for me as well. It's new for you. Let's do it together. And if you're in that partnership, usually your partner will be willing to take that step with you, but definitely practicing on your own, like self pleasuring, breath work, all of that. As you do it on your own, you'll build up that confidence to even introduce it to a partner that may not have access to that information.
Right, exactly. Yes, yes, so true. So true. I like that. So tell me a little bit. So you've studied Tantra and Taoism.
Yes.
Tell me about that. Like what is your experience with Taoism? Because so Taoism also uses breath work, right? I'm not sure you can
Yes.
expand on that.
Yeah.
Mhm. I've started
So,
studying Taoism as well, but I'm not as deep into Taoism as I am with Tantra. So
okay.
yeah.
So with the Taoists, as far as breath, they're pretty much the same in my opinion. Just being intentional with your breath. But as far as the other information, what I focus on, especially with my clients, are different sexual positions and how the sexual positions stem from ancient Taoism, and it goes back to actually a healing technique. So it's not that you just
Mhm.
want position. It's based on actually this position can lead to healing, and based on which partner is moving, that partner is either receiving or giving that healing power to their partner. So in that
Mhm.
part, that's usually what I'm studying. As far as sexual energy and the breath work, it seems pretty similar to me as far as Tantra goes.
Okay, okay. Nice. So tell me a little bit more about the couples work. Like I think it's so important. And so, when you talk about the healing, and that's one of the things that I love about tantric sex or Taoist. Let you guys know I'm on a bed right now, right? Because I'm in a hotel room. So my back, I don't have anything to support my back, so I'm just kind of laying it back. But hopefully my arms don't give it and I don't fall back. But I'm in this beautiful place. Oh my God, in nature, it's amazing. But so going back, now I lost my thought. I'm so excited being here. But oh yeah, we're talking about the healing.
Yes.
Um, and so that's the thing. I know that Montauk Chia, he's great on the Taoism, right? And
Mhm.
he has a book called Sexual Reflexology, and so they talk about a lot about the sexual healing. There's different positions, well, both in Taoist and Tantric philosophies, right? You have the different positions,
Mhm.
and that's one of the things I'm going to be. Towards the end, guys, I'm going to be staying on. If anybody has questions about my yoni massage course, Sunday, January 3rd, I'm starting my yoni massage. And this is one of the things that I'm going to be teaching in that is like these sexual reflexology points. You're talking about teaching couples, these tantric positions that heal, and it really does heal. Like we don't think about how breath or sexual practices can relieve anxiety, can relieve stress. It can heal you. Like it can even bring abundance to you, right? There's the whole sex magic practices, but there's whole like our genitals has all of the reflexology points, our organs, the heart, the
Mhm.
liver, which holds on to anger, the kidneys that hold on to fear, like all of that is there. And so when you know what you're doing, you can really do some healing work. And once you do the healing and you release those traumas, the pain from the anger or the fear, it leads to so much more pleasure. Like you can actually
Yes.
enjoy and open up and have like multiple orgasms.
Yes, I agree. I think the reflexology is great, a great point to learn, especially once you teach your clients how once the penis is fully inserted, how the reflexology points match up perfectly as far as the organ,
Yes.
and how you're literally they're penetrating your heart space because that's
Yes.
tied to your heart. So then once you start to go on to talk about energy and how we can be tied to our partners, it makes so much more sense because you're actually penetrating that space. Previously, you may say, what does my genitals have to do with my heart? Especially
Mm-hmm.
someone that can have sex without the emotion attached. And then you can start to see why that can be difficult.
Right.
Have
Yeah.
without the emotion or some type of vulnerability with your partner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So real quick, hello to everyone that's coming on. Again, remember to you can feel free to ask questions, write any comments. If you're new and you're enjoying this, share it so other people can people could come on and watch. So like a lot of times we don't think about how breath work or reflexology or these different things can assist us in our pleasure. But that's one of the things about Tantra is that everything is connected.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. And it's about expansion, you know? And so, like what you were talking about, Wandy says intriguing. So if you look at, like, let's say that this is the vaginal canal, right? Where's the camera? And let's say this is a penis. So the heart, for example, is right on the tip of the penis, and the heart is right at the top of the vaginal canal. So when you're going in, the heart is meeting the heart up here. And so it's just a beautiful thing. Our body is amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So it's like you don't think about how we were created. We were created to be able to heal ourselves, to feel pleasure. And this is one of the things. I grew up Catholic, right? So with the Catholicism, there was so much guilt. And
Right.
I always felt like, oh, I got to be this way. I got to be that way. I can't do that. I can't do this. I got to do this. And it was like growing up, you just close off so much from all of these different things. And it's like from what you're hearing and all of this guilt and what society is saying. And
Mm,
believe it or not, we hold on to those things. We
we
hold on to that guilt.
we do.
Yeah, and so the breath work is an excellent way to release that guilt. Doing mindful tantric sex work or Taoist reflexology work through vaginal mapping, for example. I'm going to teach vaginal mapping in this yoni massage course where you can, identify what's held inside of the vagina. You can identify the anger, guilt, any of that stuff, and help to release it. And these are
Very
important things that we need to do.
Yes, very important because if you think about all the emotions we can hold in the vagina, then you can see why like fibroids are at such a high rate or all of these conditions. As a pharmacist, I had so many women on birth control just because they had endometriosis or PCOS. I know we don't discuss the spiritual aspect of diseases in the Western world, especially in America. So who knows like how much of that emotion, especially guilt and shame that's trapped in the vagina or reproductive organs at all, how much is that is causing the diseases that we are medicating people for?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so funny. I was actually thinking of bringing up the whole fibroids thing. And it's interesting because I had fibroids and my doctor wanted me to have surgery as well as put me on birth control pills to
Mm-hmm.
shrink them. And I didn't want to. I was like, I'm not having surgery. And I don't want to do contraceptive. And so, when you said that, listening to that, I do believe a big part of that is having that guilt inside of me, holding on to that guilt. And we hold on to those things. And not only that, honestly, eating habits.
Yes.
Because you always eat and so the one of the things that I learned, the fibroids are a buildup of toxins, right, in your body. So if you're eating a lot of meat, red meat, or different things, shrimp or crabs that or pork that really just eats everything, those toxins are going in your body. And I'm not a nutritionist, so I'm not saying become vegetarian. But one of the things that worked for me was becoming vegan and doing regular detoxes, and so that also makes a difference in terms of how much you can feel in your body, how much pleasure you can feel, because you're
Yeah.
not weighed down. And so that's one of the things that I noticed when I stopped eating meat. I'm not gonna lie, I do eat meat every once in a while. Like, I do love meat, but I definitely don't eat it like I used to, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, you're mindful.
Yeah, being mindful. Because I
Hmm.
used to, we eat meat in every meal, breakfast, bacon,
Yeah.
lunch, dinner. And so now I'll go like a whole week and not eat meat at all, no fish, no chicken, nothing. And then on the weekends, I'll eat, So it's like it's important to be very mindful, very present with
Yes.
what we're putting into in our bodies.
I totally agree. Especially like some of my patients, they would feel helpless, like, hey, I have to go on birth control because they know no other ways. No one's talking about yoni massages or releasing emotions from your genitals or tantra. So I think things like this is needed, especially to get the information out there so people can see that they have other options besides
Mhm.
pharmaceutical medications.
Yes. And that's why I'm doing these lives. That's the importance of these lives. It's really for people to start to learn what's out there. There's different things out there. We don't talk about these things. And I really want us to be able to talk about sexuality, to talk about sex, to talk about healing, to talk about fibroids, endometriosis, all of these different things that there are solutions for.
There
There
are
are.
permanent solutions, not just band-aids. So
Exactly.
that's
And that's the thing. I mean, you can get on birth control or you can get surgery and they'll grow right back.
yes,
I know lots of people who had their fibroids grow back, So yeah, it's important to have it's a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle change. Doing the breath work, and that's one of the things. Breath work helps you to be present.
yes,
Breath work helps to cleanse you, you know. There's specific breathing techniques to remove the toxins in your body,
yes,
you know. And then, so eating, breath work, exercising, sweating, these are all important things to help you to be not only healthy and whole, but these are things that's going to lead to pleasure. Because if you think about it, we don't think about it, right? If we're weighed down by eating unhealthily, we're sluggish. And
mm,
so how can you, have great sex? Like, you're not gonna have energy, you're gonna be tired, and
yeah,
you're just gonna be
yeah,
you're gonna be just in missionary
yeah.
position.
And you're
What is the person doing it?
because of the ingredients in your food. And you're like, I don't have the energy to have sex. When I get home, he wants to touch me. I don't have the energy. But it's really our lifestyle, our food. We're giving our energy to jobs that don't fulfill us. We're stressed out because of bills or materialistic things we may have accumulated that we now have to pay for. So over time, all of these things drain us. So, going back to breath work, even if you have to get into your car on your lunch break, whatever you can do to minimize stress by using breath work, that's going to increase your pleasure in the bedroom because you're going to be calm walking through the door, seeing your partner versus you're anxious, you don't want to be bothered. So, take time to really do breath work throughout the day. And I think it will definitely lead to that increase in pleasure.
Oh, for sure, for sure, for sure. So yeah, yeah, and speaking of the other thing as well, going into what we're eating, right? It's important for men. A lot of times they don't realize men are eating whatever, drinking a lot of beer, a lot of alcohol, and then when they're making love with their partner, if it's a female partner, she'll get yeast infections,
Yeah.
right? Or BV, bacterial vaginosis. And then she's not going to want to have sex with you anymore because every time she's having sex with you, she's getting a BV infection.
And she's at
So
the
it's
pharmacy.
and what?
And she's at the pharmacy because they're going to keep putting her on medication or antibiotics.
Exactly. So then it's like, so then that doesn't lead to pleasure. She's going to be like, oh, I got a headache tonight, hon. So it's important. It's really important to think about, if you really want to have the amount of pleasure that we can have,
Yes.
Think about what you're eating. Think about what you're putting into your body, and think about what type of breathing regimens you can do. So what are some of the tips you have for people that they could do, like in terms of um, breath work, feeling more pleasure, whatever you want to share, like.
So I do have some tips for self-pleasuring. And these are things I definitely push for my clients to do. So when you're self-pleasuring, I think we are like, hey, I just want to orgasm. I want to get this over with. But be very intentional. Set the mood. So whether that's running a nice bath before you self pleasure or lighting a candle, lighting an incense. So whatever you need to do to really create that space, pretty much be romantic with yourself. That way it's sacred. It's not something you're rushing through. Try not to do it if you have something to do within 15 minutes because then you're thinking about that thing. Um,
Mhm.
that
And I like that. I like that because it's important to be intentional and set the mood. So many times, and I've done this myself too. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I just want, I just want to get off. Like I got a lot of stuff to let go. And I go grab my vibrator and I'm like, no incense, nothing. It feels good, I ain't gonna lie.
it does. It
But
makes orgasm.
yes, but it's important. I think that, what you're saying in terms of being able to be present, be in that moment, and really not just doing something so quick, so fast, just to kind of get you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Second tip, I think this goes back to our previous discussion, especially about guilt. If you come from a religious background, if you self pleasure and certain emotions come up for you, such as guilt or shame, even if you have to stop, try to journal afterwards. So try to see why those emotions are coming up for you. Where do they stem from? Are they even your beliefs, or are they beliefs of your family members, maybe people from your church, whatever that stems from? That way you can strip it away and get back to your authentic self. Because once you return to your authentic self, you'll know that pleasure is your birthright and that you
Yes.
don't need to feel guilty about it. You're not doing anything wrong by touching yourself or self pleasuring. As we discussed, you're actually healing yourself. So
Hmm.
nothing to be shameful about, but I totally understand where all the programming has taken place for most.
Right. And even the same thing beyond self-pleasuring, but in relationships, right? I was talking to someone recently, and she had did something that was so beautiful, in my mind was so beautiful. She initiated sex, and she hadn't done that before, right? And it was with somebody so she didn't really know the person that well, but she initiated it. And and then later she kind of felt guilty about it. She was like, oh my God, that's not me. And I'm like, but well, how do you know that's not you? Like, how do you know that's not what society has dictated all these years and put in your head to feel guilty? Especially as women, for men, it's okay. Men, it's okay. Like, they can go and have sex with whoever, and
Women,
their friends or family not going to judge. But then when a woman does it, it's like, oh, you're a hoe, you're a slut, da 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 da. And I said to her, I was like, you shouldn't feel any guilt. Like, you wanted it and you went after it.
yeah,
How many women cannot do that?
yes, because of the guilt, because of the shame. And I love what you said to her. That's so beautiful. How do you know that's not you? Because so many of us
Right.
don't know our authentic selves. Since we were younger, people are telling us, be this, don't do that, don't be this, don't do,
Exactly.
especially as a little girl.
So true. So true. Let me see if I could share this page right here. This is so interesting. Or maybe I'll just say what it is. Um, Let me see if you could see this. Okay, hold on one second. Because I want you to see the design. Share screen. All right, make sure I don't have any porn up. What is it? record this computer screen. I don't know why I want to do that. Okay, so share. Hold on. I just want to share this real quick so you guys can see it. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Step out of the box and into yourself.
Yes.
And it just made me think about that. Like, step out of the box and into yourself. So it was like, how do we know? Did I stop sharing now?
Yeah, it's no
Okay,
longer.
good. All right. So like, and that hit me, because it's like we're in a box, right? We're in a box that society has created for us. We're in a box of what everybody is telling us who we should be, what we should do, what we should want. And so it was like, step out of that and into yourself. What is it that you want? Who are you? What is your desire? Let's strip away what society says is right or wrong.
I totally agree. And you have to experience things to figure out who you are. You can't listen to everyone or allow people to tell you who you are. You have to move through life and actually experience it to figure out what you like. I even tell my clients, like, if you're someone and you had sex and someone took your virginity and they've been telling you what you should like, what position should feel good, what you should do for your partner, and you've always abided by those rules instead of figuring out what you truly like as far as your pleasure, then you haven't truly tapped into your sexual energy yet, because you're only pleasing your partner and you're not worrying about your own fulfillment or your own pleasure.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And it's so funny because going back, this is just so good. I'm not really trying to keep talking about my yoni massage course, but I am because it's all connected.
Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't planned that way. But this is one of the things that I'm going to be teaching in that course for women, how to know what your desire is and how to express that without shame, without guilt, you know? And then you just said something too just now, but I lost it. That was going to make me say something about the course and being able to just kind of being able to talk to your partner. So, just in case people are confused about it, the yoni massage course is I'm going to be teaching women how to massage themselves on their yonis. Also, I'm going to teach men how to massage women. And this is also a class for people who work in the healing field and want to be able to offer something else. I think that, another healing technique, and I think that this is so important because, again, like we were saying earlier, we hold on to so many traumas in the vagina, we hold on to so many traumas in the body, right? And there's so many different ways of releasing those traumas, whether it's through tantric massage, like we said when I was introducing you, and breath work. So like using that vaginal mapping, for example, that you would do in the yoni massage course, and doing the breath work along with that would
Yeah.
release so
Mm.
much stuff that's in there. And a lot of times we don't even know that there's things in there.
We
You know, uh, we don't. Like I have clients that come in that have painful sex, vaginismus. And then it's like when we do the work, they realize that their yoni actually closed and caused so much pain because
don't.
of all the guilt that they're carrying on. Guilt for feeling sexual, guilt for wanting to have sex and thinking that it's something so bad, so wrong. And it's not. Like you said, it's our birthright.
It
We're
is.
born, we're sexual beings.
We are. It's a natural desire, and you just touched on this. But one of my tips as well with your partner: be honest about your sexual needs and desires with your partner. Whether you don't feel comfortable sharing, try to push yourself to share, because the moment you share your wants and desires with your partner, they can actually fulfill them. Because
Yes.
only keep them locked in your head, you may feel different. The shame may grow, the guilt may grow louder. When all you have to do is just tell your partner, and they might actually surprise you and be into what you're into, or at least be willing to explore that with you.
Yes. Okay. I wasn't sure if you were going to say something else. After you said that, it
Oh,
looked like you were going to say something else. Okay. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the important thing. So many times women, oh, that's what you had said. That made me think about it. Um, a lot of times women are not used to being able to ask for what they want. They're not able to even really know what they want because we've been conditioned so much to please our partners, to please
that's
the man. And everybody, we're talking in general terms of heterosexual relationships, but I know it's not to discount any other type of relationships. Um because you can have this as well in homosexual relationships too. You can have a woman, she could be in a relationship with another woman and have difficulty expressing herself. um so this is just in general terms, but can be you can it still a lot of this will still hold true in whatever type of relationship you're in. um in terms of this communication and the breath work and things like that. So so a lot of times we've as women we've been conditioned to do for everyone else, to we're going to be a mother, we got to take care of our kids, we got to and so it's like we a lot of times don't even know what we want, we don't even know what we like.
mm,
And so doing the breath work, when we're doing that breath work, we're able to start feeling our body. We're start able to start feeling sensations in our bodies. And then we can identify what feels good. We can identify what we enjoy,
yes.
thereby being able to express that to our partner.
Totally agree. So,
Mhm.
last tip for self pleasuring, I don't discourage anyone from viewing porn or using toys such as vibrators. But when you're really trying to connect and heal with yourself, try to minimize the use of these, at least for a period of time. Just that way you can connect with your body. You can use your imagination, your fantasies, instead of just looking at it on a screen, because that's going into your subconscious, and it's going to, whether you believe it or not, it's going to influence what you believe is true or what you think you should like. So try to connect with yourself. You can use your vibrators, but try to use your hands, try to insert your fingers. I speak with so many women, and they are comfortable using toys, inserting toys, but they are very uncomfortable inserting their own fingers. But you want to get in there, you want to massage, you want to see if your vaginal canal is constricted, like Renee was saying earlier, or if it has the ability to fully relax, to fully open. And then you can actually start to massage to unnumb it, because a lot of women, we have numb vaginas. So you don't actually get
Yes.
to feel the sensation. So although your partner may be penetrating you, whether it's with a dildo or with a penis, you may not be able to actually feel all of the sensation because you have numb parts of your vaginal canal.
Yep. Exactly. 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 Whew, that was good. That is so true. That is so true. You know, so yeah, and that's where like the tantric massage comes in, right? To work on releasing that numbness that's there, and the breath work. So I like those. I like those. So and you also have some tips for couples as well, or did you give that up?
So I touched on being open and honest with your partner regarding your sexual needs, but also give your partner reminders to breathe while you're actually having sex. So whether you're a talker or moaner, if you talk during sex, it forces you to breathe. It's like being in the gym. If you're on a treadmill, if you are breathing and you're not going at such an accelerated rate, then you'll be able to actually talk through the workout. So try to remind your partner to breathe. Pay attention to their breath. So if you feel that they're holding their breath or they're breathing too rapidly, you can easily just remind them, whether you want to do it in their ear or however you guys choose to do it. And I find for myself, this actually turns me on for my partner to remind me to breathe like during the act. And then also, the more they say it, it becomes something that I'm aware of as well, the deeper we get into it.
And that's good. I'm glad you said that because a lot of times people feel like, oh, if I'm telling my partner to breathe or what I like or whatever during, it's going to take me out of the mood. But
Yeah,
actually, it doesn't. It doesn't take you out.
it
It
does.
actually, yeah, it actually helps the other person relax more because they're like, oh, okay. Because so many times you gotta realize so many times we're with a partner and they're anxious. They're like, am I doing it right? Is she
Mhm.
feeling good? Is this so many different things? But if they know that you're able to verbalize in that moment what you want, what you feel, or even just say to breathe, to help remind them, then they can relax a little bit more, you know? And so that's so important. That's such a beautiful thing to be able to talk to each other and
Yeah,
just remind each other to breathe. I also wanted to add on a couple different types of breathing techniques. So some of the things that I teach couples is that there's different types of breathing techniques based on depending on what outcome that you want, right? You can do a more chaotic breath like a breath of fire. So you could actually be having sex and do that, and that will get you like it actually gets you more aroused into like a more intense um what's the word point that's not the word I'm looking for, but it'll get it become more intense, right? What you're feeling. And then you can, and I like to mix and do different types of breath work. So I could start off with that, and then I'll start doing more deep breathing. Because then that'll allow me to like relax, right? And then I can allow that orgasm to come. And then if I want an even more intense orgasm, once I'm relaxed, I start breathing faster. Now, it doesn't work with everyone. It depends on who you are. But that's something you can do is play around with the different breathing techniques and see what works for you. See what gets you there faster, see what doesn't, see what makes it feel more intense. And so and then I love the ah breath. The ah breath is really good to allow you to completely relax and to allow yourself to become more orgasmic. And that's just basically breathing in through your nose and exhaling an ah sound. So it's just ah, ah. And I'm going to say, I am loud, people. I make noise. I'm loud. And that's important. For you to be able to feel pleasure, make those sounds,
yes,
release the noise.
yeah,
Like, don't, the more that we try not to like make the noise, it's feeding into that guilt. We shouldn't
yes.
be having sex. It's something wrong. It's something bad. We should be hiding from it. If your neighbors could hear you and they have an issue with it, that's their problem. And you might just help them be able to say, I think I need to get some. So
Yes,
do you make those noises and enjoy?
I totally agree. Make those noises, moan, talk. Like, it doesn't have to be what you see on porn. It doesn't have to just be silence or these cliche sayings. You can say whatever you want to your partner. You can ask them how their day was during sex. Like, whatever the two of you deem necessary, then I say go for it.
Exactly. I agree. I agree. So, if anyone has any questions, any comments, please go ahead and ask away. This is your chance right now. And you were talking earlier about the porn, and I agree. Like, I'm not like anti-porn. First Eye Vision says sing them songs. Yes. Um, I'm not anti-porn. Like, I've watched porn, but I agree. Like when you're doing this work, it's good to kind of stay away from it some or or watch more conscious porn because it's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in porn is not realistic.
At all.
And then we go into a fantasy world. And the thing is, when we go into that fantasy world, we're losing connection to ourselves, to our body. And it makes it harder to feel as much as we can feel, you know.
I agree. I totally agree. Because
Yeah,
you out of your body, you're more up here. You're not here in your lower chakras, just being in the moment, being grounded, actually connecting with your partner or even with yourself. because you're probably fantasizing about what you're looking at or what you just saw, or hey, I want that type of sex, versus just focusing on your own body in that moment.
Exactly, exactly. So, do you have anything coming up? Like, do you have any workshops or anything or any events or?
So I do have a class coming up. You can go to www.theorgasmichealer.com. It is an 8 week course. It's going to start probably late February, most likely. We go over breath work. We go over tantric massages. We also go over unconventional foreplay. So things like meditation with your partner before sex or eye gazing. So we go over an array of things, yoni steam. So you can check that out. I also have oracle card decks, and it's actually a sacred sex and relationship deck. So if you are an oracle card or tarot card reader, you may be interested to add that to your services. So you can check that out on my site as well.
Awesome, awesome. That's beautiful. So, does anyone, if anyone has any questions, so normally my lives go like an hour long, but I told the orgasmic healer, I don't know how long I can sit on this bed without any back support, and it's like it's a real soft bed. Um, So great session. Thanks. Have a great evening. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank
If
you.
anyone has any questions about the yoni massage course as well that's coming up, let me know. Put it here. I'll answer that real quick. Also, I have two things as well that I'd like to share. I have a men's circle as well as a sister circle. My sister circle meet the first Sunday of each month at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and my men's circle meet the second Sunday of each month at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Both of those can be found via my Patreon account. So hit me up on Patreon. I have my information right here, and I have all of that information. When you do couples, do you do separate and then couple sessions? I don't know who the question is for, but we can both answer that. Um, we can both answer that. But real quick, so with the men's circle, I'm going to be teaching a lot of techniques such as semen retention, lingam breathing, which is the breathing with the penis, or they call it lingam flexing as well. Lingam is the Sanskrit word for penis, and so I'm going to be teaching different techniques to help the men be able to. Phil, I love you too. To be able to help the men be able to last longer, work on if they have erectile dysfunction. And one of the things I've noticed, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but more and more men are getting erectile dysfunction in their 30s and 40s. So
Yes.
there's a lot of that happening.
Yes.
Um, yes. Yes. Tobias says, yes, thank you for a great talk. Breath work for men. Where to start? If you can say something about that. Yeah, exactly. And this is what, so in the men's circle, we're going to be doing the breath work for that. I'm going to be teaching you specifically for men breath work that will help you learn how to last longer, do the semen retention. Not that in traditional tantric practices and Taoist practices, they taught a lot of semen retention for men. In this day and age, not so many men want to do semen retention, but it's changing where more and more are wanting to learn that. But these are going to be techniques that you can learn, and you can do the semen retention if you want or not, because it's not that simple to just have sex and it don't come, because then you'll get blue balls. So there's a lot of different things that you need to learn to work with to allow that energy to move up. So I'll be teaching that in my men's circle, and that's through Patreon. You could go to my Patreon /prondadaprem.com, and you'll have all that information on there. Then my sister circle, also via Patreon. That's going to be for women. We're going to be doing yoni breathing as well. That's real specific breathing techniques with movements of your yoni and your hips to release stagnant energy that's within the hip area, within the womb area, because as women, we do hold on to a lot of trauma. Same thing for the men with the lingam breathing that I'm going to be teaching in the men's circle. We're going to be doing breath work with movements of the hips, right? To release that stagnant energy, release those traumas and blockages that stays in our womb area and our pelvic area. So, and I'm really trying to build community right? Build community of people with similar, similar goals, wanting to learn the same thing so that we can really grow together. Okay. Okay, so the question was, when you do couples, do you do separate and then couple sessions? I'll answer first and then you want to answer? You do couples work?
I don't do couples work, so the things I teach are centered around couples, but I don't work with couples as of yet. So I mainly teach women, but I do encourage them to teach their partners, if they have a male partner, the techniques that are in the book.
Okay. Okay. So I do work with couples. I do couples therapy. And so a lot of times what I will do is I'll first do a session where I'll interview both partners. And then depending on what they say, depending on what's going on, I may separate them and see one person and then the other separately and then come together and do couples. Uh, but it's all individual. It's all based on that specific couple and what's going on with them. Now, if they come in and the relationship is pretty good, but they want to learn new techniques, learn new tantric practices, then I just go right ahead and do the couples. But if there's issues, if they have different problems, then I'll separate the two and work with them individually to really do that healing work so that when they come together, they can actually communicate appropriately. Because it doesn't help if they're together and then they're yelling and screaming at each other. No one is listening. No one's done their shadow work. No one's done their healing work. And then it just ends up, I mean, obviously, because I have a background in psychotherapy. So I'm also a psychotherapist and I've done couples therapy, couples counseling from that point of view as well as from the tantric therapy point of view. So depending on what's going on with that couple, I may bring in both or either, you know. So that was a great question, Crucian. Yes. Any other questions, thoughts, or comments? And we did good because it's 51 minutes now. So we did good. And so both of us, we're going to do a live on January 6th. It's a Tuesday on Instagram. So join us on Instagram at the Orgasmic Healer or Prandata Prem _ Tantra. Follow us there and then check us out on Tuesday. I'm going to be back in Rio, energized, feeling great. I'm here in Nova Friburgo, which is about 3 hours from Rio. I'm in the mountains. It's amazing. We have saunas here. We have a hot tub. We're going to be doing breath work. Actually, I'm missing the beginning of the retreat to be here in this live. So everybody's downstairs talking, but there's 5 of us here working because there's 40 people. It's a huge group. And so I slipped out tonight to do this live. And but we're going to be doing the breath work. We're going to be doing the eye gazing. It's going to be amazing. So if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me, or also on Facebook. I'm going to be putting little clips of what we're doing here so you guys can see it. And look, if you want to come do a retreat with me in August, I'm doing a retreat for women of color. And I got to do one for men too. I was supposed to do one for couples this past August, but because of COVID, I didn't do it. But this upcoming August 2021, I'm going to have a retreat for women of color in Brazil, baby. Come on. And you guys are going to love it. It's amazing. So yes, Christian, I am putting pictures up. You know what? I already put pictures up on Instagram, but I'm going to put pictures up on Facebook as well. So I'm going to put that up tonight. So awesome. And Nirav says, nice direct. Maya, thank you both. Thank you. Thank you, Maya. Thank you, everyone who's come on. And if you, I'm going to let you talk real quick. Thank you guys for coming on. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Christian says, passport ready. Yes. Get that passport ready. Come on. Brazil is waiting for you. It's amazing here. So we had everybody take the COVID test. Everybody's negative, so we feel comfortable. We're still doing the social distancing, but we're still getting a lot of work done, and it's amazing. So it can definitely be done in August. Come on out. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can see when I have more lives coming up or when I release videos. And if you've enjoyed this, please share it. And Orgasmic Healer, if you want to end with anything.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out or tuning in. And thank you for sacrificing some time at your retreat. I definitely appreciate that. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'm going to be posting information. Also, check out my website. You can subscribe to my website at the bottom of the homepage. I will be sending out some emails. So do that for me. And if you have any questions about anything, you can always feel free to DM me on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for coming on. Trisha says she loved this. I'm so happy that you guys are loving this and you've gotten something out of it. Because really, 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 I am trying to talk more about sexuality once a week and just really make this something so normal and so common that everyone can talk about and feel okay with, you know? So, thank you guys. Love you all. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing what you've learned and for people and giving these tips. It was really great. And I'd love to have you back again sometime, but we're going to be on Instagram January 6th. So join us there at prandata_tantra or at the Orgasmic Healer. So you guys have a wonderful night.
Yes. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. Happy New Year. Love you guys. Bye. I don't know where the camera is. Bye.